Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to your Rangers Review post-match reaction video. Apologies for the delay. As we touched on, if you tuned in to the pre-match video, Chris is working hammer and tong in the press room as we speak. He's just heard from Barry Ferguson, and he's popped up everything he's had to say over on the website. So he is now making his way up to the gantry, and Chris will be joining us shortly to discuss today's 1-1 draw at Ibrox. Rangers opening the scoring through Cyril Dessers in the first half, a well-taken goal, only for Adam Ida to equalise in the second half for Celtic after a VAR check, after it was initially ruled out for offside. But I'm keen to get your views on what you made of that, folks. Was it a missed opportunity for Rangers today? Did they deserve to win the game? I know, hearing from Barry Ferguson afterwards, he certainly felt that Rangers were worthy of all 3 points. Certainly at the first half, Nico Raskin so unlucky to be have a goal ruled out for offside. He's so good in the air, Nico. Brilliant header from a James Tavernier free kick, but the right call was made after the VAR check. Leon Balogun, for me, has to score in the opening few seconds of the game. It was right at the start of that one. Another corner whipped in, and it's a free header right in front of the goal mouth. And for me, it has to bullet the header downwards, and it would have been a certain goal. But Rangers did eventually get their noses in front, and as I touched on earlier, a wonderful goal it was to Cyril Dessers. I enjoyed that graphic that Sky popped up on the screen of Dessers' touch map in that first half. I think he had 5 touches in all, and just 1 in the Celtic half prior to that move, and a well-worked move as well. Ball, it all came from a Liam Kelly save at the other end. Rangers moved up the park. Lovely ball in to Dessers. Great movement as well from Czerny, and great upper body strength to get him away from the Celtic defender, take a touch, and then a composed finish past Sinisalo into the corner. His celebration was magnificent as well. He's done that before, hasn't he? Remember the goal he scored at Ibrox? It was ruled out when the Tom Lawrence infringement, when the 3-3 game. I think he went over and lifted the corner flag up, and he's done it at Feyenoord as well. So certainly loves a corner flag celebration, does Big Cyril. But I'm intrigued to get your thoughts. Who were the top performers today? Who didn't take their opportunity? I think off the top of my head, just thinking about the players I felt had a good game. Leon Balogun is always dependable in these games. It's no surprise to see him back in the starting 11 today, wearing the mask, of course. And listen, I think he defensively was superb for Rangers, made some crucial interventions at times, and as I touched on, really should have had a goal to his name. Other than that, Nico Raskin was his usual self, fantastic in the middle of the park for Rangers. I've seen on social media already, we've discussed it at length on various videos. Rangers need to try and thrash out a new deal for this lad, and maybe look to build a team around him next season. He really is terrific. Václav Czerny was under the weather, and of course, very angry reaction in the dugout when he was hooked by Barry, and I think deservedly so. He had a poor game today. I don't think you can have any complaints about being removed. Interestingly, Barry was asked about Václav in his post-match press conference, and about his reaction when he was brought off. He says, he was asked, does he need to do more? He says, in terms of Vash, he knows what I think. He's a quality player. He's a match winner. He's a game changer. Sometimes you've got to make decisions if you don't think it's going well, but he's got a good attitude. He'll be disappointed and frustrated, but I don't have any issue with that. He'll be one of the first ones in on Tuesday morning. He'll be on that training pitch, and he'll be giving his all. And on the issue of being frustrated when he came off, he says, I'm the manager. I've got to make decisions. And if I feel I need to make changes, I'll make changes. I'll have no issue with people being disappointed. I would rather they like that and walk off with rather than a smile on their face. He'll need to come in next weekend and train really hard to try and get back into the starting 11 next Sunday. So yeah, a bit of an off day for Václav. I like this comment from Alan. He said, I thought Barron played well. Yeah, I totally agree, Alan. I thought certainly first half he was everywhere, a bit of a buzz bomb, winning those second balls and getting himself about the pitch. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I did think he had a good game. Second half, though, Rangers sort of tailed off a little bit, never really posed too many issues. Big talking point, of course, was the Yanis Hadji penalty claim when Callum McGregor appeared to bundle him over after Nico Raskin's shot was blocked. For me, it might be controversial. I don't think there was enough in that to give a penalty. I think the right call was made, but I've seen someone posting the Yanis Hadji penalty that he gave away at Easter Road earlier in the season, and you've seen them given, that's for sure. So there you go. If you are just joining us, folks, a very good afternoon to you all. As I touched on, we are waiting. Chris, he's making his way from the press room up to the gantry at Ibrox. He will be joining us soon. He was in attendance today watching the game from that press box area. And in fact, speaking of the devil, Chris has just joined us here. So we'll let him get set up and then we'll get him added to the show. There we go. Let's see if he's ready to come on. There we go. Chris, can you hear me okay?
I can indeed, loud and clear.
Hey.
How's things?
Yeah, super. All the better for seeing you. But we're just speaking there about the game. Bit of an end of season feeling to it. And touched on there, Barry felt Rangers were maybe worthy of all 3 points. What was your assessment of the game?
The first half, Rangers the better side. Second half didn't offer enough. You get they got the goal at a good time, but didn't really have that many chances to try and capitalise on it. I thought Dessers actually took his goal really well. One of the few touches he had in that first half, because Rangers just couldn't get in. They couldn't get him involved at all, and it looked like their best chances were going to come from set pieces or from balls into the box, or as they get the goal from Raskin that is then ruled out. But I say they got that goal at a really good time, but couldn't really capitalise on it. You're then hoping that someone can come off the bench and have a bit of an influence. Like a man's come on and he's playing wide rather than playing through the middle. Also, Hadji comes on and has to go off. So your creative influencers that you're putting on couldn't really get into it. So I think when you said it was end of season, it felt very much like an end of season no fun game. There wasn't that usual bite to it and that spark to it. And I know from that wouldn't really live long in the memory.
Well, the first yellow card was deep in the second half and it went to Barry, which is unheard of, really. And then all of a sudden, Nick Walsh started handing out yellow cards for all sorts of misdemeanours. But there you go. It was one of those games. I think I don't often give officials credit or benefits of the doubt. I was a bit concerned when we heard who the officials were that would be talking about them in contentious decisions for days afterwards. I don't think they had necessarily a bad game today. I don't think we'll be talking about unwarranted decisions in this one. But you mentioned their Dessers, and it was a pretty Dessers-y performance, wasn't it? Anonymous for much of that first half, and he's capable of moments of brilliance. He took his goal really well. So you know what you get with Cyril Dessers. Danilo came on late on. Of course, Yanis Hadji hobbled off, Chris. Did we hear from Barry about the extent of his injury at this point in time? Of course, you think whenever he goes down and goes off, you worry given his injury issues at Rangers in the past.
No update injury-wise in that post-match press conference. Also, Barry will speak again on Friday, we assume, ahead of the Aberdeen game here next week. So no, nothing injury-wise. He was asked a wee bit about Conor Barron, and he was pleased with his overall performance. Asked about the Cherney incident, if you want to claim it as that, when he was really frustrated when he was subbed, and he spoke a bit about how Cherney is fully aware of what Barry thinks of him, and Barry saying he's got a lot of qualities, but he was looking for him to do a bit more in the game. So that was really the only key players that he touched on, and obviously a lot towards the end of it, working in general job chat and time scales and the size of the job that's going on, because attentions, even after an Old Firm game, attentions quickly turned to what's happening, not just in the coming days heading into that Aberdeen game, not just what's happening these final league games, but the bigger picture and what's happening overall over these next couple of months, both on and off the park.
Yep, there's a point that came in. There was a few interesting spectators at the game today. Gregor Townsend, the Scotland rugby coach, was there, as was Neil Warnock. Bluebells are Blue says at least Warnock get a good look at what he has to play with next season. He loves the Rangers, doesn't he, Neil Warnock? So, he's always welcome at Ibrox. What do you make of this? Looking at the return of away fans, Chris, what do you make of having Celtic fans back in the ground?
I think, like we said after the Parkhead game, when the Rangers fans were there, it makes it more of a spectacle. It makes it more of an occasion. But even then, I thought the crowd at times felt a bit end of season Old Firm game. I thought there was a bit not people going through the motions, but the atmosphere and the game and everything around it didn't have that same kind of sense of Old Firm round about it, which I think is only natural. Celtic turned up here knowing that their job was very much done. Brendan Rodgers spoke a lot in his press conference about just preparing his side for that Scottish Cup final that they've got in a couple of weeks. And the Rangers fans, they turned up here knowing that their season finished a long time ago. And that most of these players wouldn't be here, that the manager potentially wouldn't be here, that some of these directors wouldn't be here. So I think everyone is there was actually a feeling of, let's just go and get through it. Let's get to the end of the season. So I think it'll be the next time when you're back at Parkhead and you're back at Ibrox, that's when you'll really see what the Old Firm is like with these fans back in. But as I said, when the decision was made, for me, it's a good step. It should have happened a long time ago. I'm pleased it's finally happened, and it brings a wee bit more back to the fixture, back to the occasion. Just not on an afternoon where I said didn't really have that Old Firm edge to it.
Yeah, you mentioned there the press conference. It moved on to Barry and his aspirations for the job on a permanent basis. This is what he had to say, folks.
I know I've got a real good staff behind me, so I've been asked this question two or three weeks in a row. I think it's clear. Doesn't scare me one single bit. I know there's a hell of a lot of work to be done, but I think everybody knows that, and that's a challenge that I would meet head on, and I know I would change it.
There you go. Barry speaking about the job. I think when I was on with Joshua, it was just prior to the St Mirren game. I think that's when he came out properly saying that he would improve Rangers. Chris, I think it's... Listen, I don't know what the new owners, what they'll be looking for. It would be highly surprising if Barry gets the job full-time, would it not?
I don't think he's done enough. I think he has been the right man in the circumstances for Rangers. He's been the right man to see them through what has been a fairly dreadful season overall. He's given the fans those highs of the win at Parkhead, of that night over in Istanbul, certainly of the night here. He's given the fans those memories. He will take away those memories, but come the final whistle at Easter Road, everyone shakes hands, wishes each other for the best. And the first home game of next season, Barry is back in a lounge here. He's not on the touchline. Of course he wants it. Of course he would like to remain in charge. I think we said the night that it was confirmed that Clement was away and Barry's name came up, and obviously he was then confirmed as interim manager. I think we said then it was going to take something remarkable for him to earn the job on a full-time basis. The night the Rangers went out in Bilbao, that was the end of that. He would have had to have got to the final of the Europa League to be even considered for it. It's not been good enough domestically. yes, he's inherited a squad that is nowhere near good enough for the rigours of Scottish football. It's a squad that needs so much work done to over the course of the summer. But I think you'll find, I imagine you'll get many Rangers fans here today that would say Barry's the right man to lead that. Legendary player, a great ambassador for the club. Stepped in when the club was in a really difficult moment. I think he should be thanked for that. But come the end of the season, that's the end of that. So I think any kind of Barry job chat, it's a bit kind of pointless right now, because it's not going to happen. The new owners will go in a different direction.
Of course, we're on Instagram as well. There's a few comments on there I wanted to flag up. Alistair 82 says Raskin was brilliant. Kelly made some great saves. Dessers, great guy, but not the answer next season. I'm glad you brought up Kelly, Alistair, because certainly at the end he saved Rangers from was heart and mouth stuff when Dyson Maeda found himself through on goal, but he made himself big. Liam Kelly also made a number of other crucial saves in the game as well. I thought he was decent today, Chris.
I thought he did everything that he was asked to do. Didn't really have a lot of chance with the goal. I think the deflection that takes off of a shooter, that's going to make it really difficult for a goalkeeper when it's struck. But struck from that distance with that much pace, it's tricky for a keeper to even get a hand on it. I thought his distribution a couple of times, perhaps not great. He slipped a couple of times and it can upset Barry with his distribution a couple of times. But the save from Ida in the first half was a big moment. You mentioned the one in the second half, really late on there from Ida. So I think he can be pleased with his efforts. I still don't think he's a long-term Rangers number one, but you have to say he's far from the biggest issue within this squad. And if a new number one comes in, as we expect it to over the course of summer, you've been more than happy with Liam Kelly as your backup. I think he's shown that he can fulfil that role, no problem at all.
Totally agree. This point from CGM55 says, no idea why he replaced Hadji with Royce. Cortez was on the bench. Maybe he could have got a run. Now, interestingly, Barry was quizzed on Cortez and Danilo in the press conference. He said they're obviously in the squad, but in terms of picking them, I have a decision. You can only pick 11 players. I've watched what happens on the training ground. I see the opposition we've come up against and who'll suit to play against them, but everybody's got an opportunity. They just need to work hard to force their way in. I think the two of them are good players, but they need to do more. So there you go. That's the reason why they're not playing, Chris. They're not impressing them in training.
Doesn't really say much for them, does it?
No.
It's not exactly a team that's brimming with confidence and that's playing some wonderful football.
Danilo, his face was tripping him when he came on as well. Danilo didn't look quite as happy to be on the park as well, I've got to say.
I think if you can't get in this side at this time, doesn't really bode that well for you for next season, when there should be far more options. Certainly in terms of Cortez, I think he's a bigger issue right now. Rangers have also committed a big part in whatever transfer budget they've got in the summer. A lot of that has already been taken up on Oscar Cortez. We've just not seen enough of him over the course of the season. We still don't know what level he's at. Still don't know what level he's capable of being at. And these matches are just feeling like a bit of a waste opportunity. Now, we thought he'd maybe start up at Aberdeen. We thought he'd maybe get some minutes against St Mirren. It's no surprise that he didn't start today. But again, you're looking at even just an attacking option, someone that's a bit of pace, someone a wee bit something different to try and get at Celtic in those closing stages. Barry clearly didn't fancy him. So if he doesn't play any of these last three, there's going to be some big questions asked about why he's at this club, because I say that the games obviously mean absolutely nothing now over the next week. He has to get some minutes, because we need to see where he's at. Yeah,
Dessers, of course, a bit of a workhorse, and the rest of them not doing enough to warrant a starting berth. Before we wrap up, Shefty had a poor game, Chris, did he not? That's another problem area for Rangers on that left-hand side. His form is, it's been poor, let's be honest, since January time, really. I can't think of any games that he's really been a standout.
It's been a difficult wee spell for him. I say wee spell, probably a big spell. The left-back issue is something that Rangers are going to have to address. They've got Jefty, who's young, who I think there's definitely something there. I think he can be coached, he can be improved. There's there's still a lot there in terms of a profile that should excite supporters. But I think if you look at his season as a whole, he's clearly played more football than was expected. Yilmaz again had a number of issues at various times over the course of the season, and that's just one of the downsides of him. It's always been my biggest bugbear with him. It's always been my biggest concern. It's the reason why come the summer I would take an offer if it comes in for him. He's just not reliable enough. Rangers needed, if it had been on the other side, if Shefty had been a right back rather than a left back, you would have given James Tavernier a rest at certain times, and your backup fullback, a young guy coming into the club, coming into a new country, he would have had more opportunities to play, but not been forced into games. You could have dipped him in and out, you could have played him at the right times. Shefty has been relied on a lot over the course of the season. I don't think it's actually done him. I don't think it's been the best thing for him. He needs the end of the season. He needs the summer. He needs a break. He needs a good pre-season under a new manager. Someone that can coach him. Someone that can help bring his game on. I think there is definitely something in him, but we've certainly not seen it over the last few weeks.
Yeah, and I was hoping to see Casemiro at some point. I know he was warming up, but it wasn't to be. I'm sure we'll see him maybe next Sunday and beyond. A big thank you to Bluebells or Blues, just gifted 5 Rangers Review memberships. That's very kind of you, sir. Fantastic. If you take those up, folks, you do get extra content on the YouTube channel, and you also get the morning briefing ad light as well. So if you're sick of the ads, if you go and watch it, the morning briefing at a later time, then you can watch it pretty much ad-free as a Rangers Review extra member. So thank you very much, Bluebells are Blue. We'll wrap up with this, an unwanted, and it's not really been unwarranted because Rangers have been poor at home, of course. Maka says 2 games for Barry to get the elusive home win, starting it with Aberdeen next Sunday. Rangers have now gone 7 matches without a win at home for the first time in the club's history. What is that all about, Chris?
I was talking to someone, we're walking through the Albion with a park in the cars, and talking to one of my press colleagues and saying it's remarkable that you're now into May and it's February the last time that you left Ibrox, haven't seen Rangers win a game. It's been a dreadful run, and you think back earlier in the season, this was a side that was taking care of business, not always in sparkling fashion, but they were taking care of business at Ibrox and just were so poor away. Now they're fairly poor away, and they're even worse at Ibrox. It's to go for that length of time without a home win here speaks volumes for the feelings of the squad. Speaks volumes to the feelings of this season as a whole. So it's definitely something. Now we speak about these areas of improvement heading into next season. That's got to be really high up the top of our list on a football sense, because you just simply cannot have any form of success over the course of a season if you can't win your home matches. So that's definitely one of many things that the new manager and the new directors and new owners here will have to try and address.
Yep, we'll wrap up with this. Alex Kelly says praising the tifo from the Union Bears today. As soon as I seen it, the soonest with the shotgun, I've seen that before, and I used to have a T-shirt. I've actually posted it. Noticed a photograph of me wearing said T-shirt way back about 20 odd years ago, and soonest with the shotgun. I think back in the 80s it was pictured, but fantastic tifo from the Union Bears there of soonest with complete with perm and shotgun. Cool as you like, but there you go. Right, big thank you to Chris for joining us. Big shift for Chris today, so thank you very much for all your efforts, and you're back on tomorrow with me, Chris, again.
I am indeed. I'm actually leaving Ibrox and I'm off to the PFA Scotland Awards tonight. They're having their due, so I will be.
Get a chance of winning the young player.
I think consistency is probably going against him. I think he's had some great moments overall. His debut season, I think, has been really encouraging. But I would be surprised if he gets a nod. I think Lennon Miller is probably your man for young player of the year. And also Rangers don't have any candidates for the player of the year because none of them deserve it. None of them have been good enough over the course of the season. So that's not a surprise. So heading off there later on, and I will be on with you first thing tomorrow morning. So hopefully the alarm works. because it may be a late one. So we'll see how we go.
What a professional you are. Even if you're on bleary-eyed, it'll be great to see your cheery face on Monday morning. Whatever you're doing, folks, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. If you've got the bank holiday off, then go and enjoy it, but do it by being disciplined, as to quote Mr. Warnock, who was in attendance today. But we'll wrap up there for now. Thank you to you all for tuning in, and we'll speak to you again tomorrow. Bye for now.